Hello, it is I, the great Metaverse Enterprise Solutions employee. That's a mouthful. And I'm back. Sorry, the previous part took a while. I had to edit 2 hours worth of footage. Plus, I did some Undertale DDD stuff, behind the scenes as well. You know, I gotta tend to that. People are still waiting after all. Which is why I'm gonna be tackling these final three side stories and then taking a bit of a break from DDLC. Besides, I've already done the main playthrough on my first run, so you can check that out if you want to see my reaction to the horrors that ensue. But until then, let's check out Balance. Oh, I'm gonna be hit by the fuels train again. But this time I'm prepared. Natsuki! While Natsuki is messing with the orientation of her manga in the closet shelves, Sayuri approaches from behind and pulls her into an embrace. What? What? Hi. Hi. The Literature Club has been in full swing since Natsuki joined. Including her, the club is now comprised of 4 members: Sayuri, Natsuki, Yuri, and Monica. Each club member has received a day in the spotlight to share all of their favorite kinds of literature with each other. Natsuki was first and shared her passion for manga. Then Sayuri shared her love for poetry, as well as how she goes about writing it herself. Monica, who has multiple literary interests, decides to focus her day on short stories. And finally, Yuri managed to demonstrate her obsession with fantasy, with a little help and encouragement from Sayuri. After the week was spent on their presentations, Monica decided to give the club members this next week to freely explore each other's literary interests. Sayuri, having spent most of her time in the club so far with Yuri's fantasy books, is rather excited to begin her journey into Natsuki's manga collection. I want to read with you today. Tell me which one I should pick. Parfait girls. Well, that depends on the kind of stuff you like. I mean, there's like romance, drama, comedy, mystery, horror. I like all of those things. Sayuri reaches out and pulls out a random book from the shelf and expects the cover. Shouldn't this girl be wearing more, clothes? You wouldn't like that one! Oh, how scandalous! Oh gosh. You read that stuff, Natsuki? Woo! In a panic, Natsuki snatches the book from Sayuri's hand, then replaces it on the shelf in a less conspicuous location. Okay, well, if you really have no preference, then let's just start with something that's easy to get into. A lot of these don't start to get really good until like a few volumes in. And I wouldn't ask someone to make that kind of commitment unless they're already really into manga. I could handle it, if I did it with Yuri's books at least. Well, I'm more considerate than that. Although, I'm kind of impressed by your attention span if you put that much effort into her books. Oh, I have the attention span of a donut. But I love my friends, and I can do anything if it's just for them. Well, okay then. Let's pick something that even donuts can read. Parfait girls. It might star a donut, you know? I didn't say I was a donut. I just said that I had the attention span of one. What does that even mean? How does a donut have an attention span? I guess it doesn't. Ooh, how deep, Sayuri. Aw, were you just trying to call me sweet? You're so cute. No! How would you even come to that conclusion? Don't call me that. What, a donut? Cute. Oh, how come? Would you rather be called ugly, Natsuki? My gosh. Lady, we're just saying it how we see it. Natsuki yanks a book from the shelf and closes the closet doors. If someone asks you to stop, then you need to stop. People need to realize that. I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to hurt you. Nah, sorry, it wasn't you. Natsuki shakes her head while pulling a second chair over to her desk. I was just talking about something else. I didn't really mean to get angry all of a sudden. Natsuki averts her gaze and mumbles. You're like, well, a nice person, so I wasn't talking about you. I still learned a valuable lesson. Sayuri speaks softly as well, feeling shy after receiving the unexpected compliment. Well, anyway, here's the book, so just get started whenever you feel like it. What is it about? Well, it's a comedy, and there's some romance too, obviously. Sayuri looks at the title. It's called Love is Another Word for Luck. It's about a girl who keeps accidentally running into the same guys, and then you find out like, well, you should just read it. Well, you have to tell me what you think. I can already guess who you're gonna ship yourself with. It would be so funny if I'm right. Ship? I don't get it. Shipping is when you form a headcanon of two characters that you secretly wish were together. Platonically, obviously. Never mind. Let's not worry about that yet. Just make sure you tell me what you think. Oh, okay. I'll get started then. Hey, maybe tomorrow we can do poetry too. Oh, yeah, I guess. Don't you want to finish this first? Yeah, but we can do both, right? I mean, unless you don't like poetry, then I don't want to make you or anything. No, it's just... Well, never mind. We can worry about it tomorrow. After the club meeting ends and Natsuki and Yuri leave, Monika strikes up a conversation with Sayuri. I see you got Natsuki to share some of her manga with you. I really want to become better friends with her. She's so enthusiastic and expressive. I could just listen to her talk. She's so... I'm not sure if she meant I can't say that to her, or I can't say it at all. You mean the word callous, right? She's pretty callous. Say what? Nothing. I am a woman of respect. But Natsuki's a woman of cute. Oh, I said it. What's so bad about that? I don't know. But you know, there's one thing I'm kind of worried about. Sometimes I'm afraid that Natsuki actually doesn't like me very much. No. You're reading into it a little too much, Sayuri. She's like this with everybody. Aw, that's ridiculous. How come you feel that way? Well, I mean, just little signs, like how she says only hi to me after I say hi to her first. She's just shy in her own way. She's shy and she hides behind this confident guise. I mean, when you first met each other, Sayuri, she seemed to like you right off the bat. And it feels like she only gets excited to talk to me when it's all about manga and other stuff she likes. She just seems dismissive a lot. She was like that when I brought up poetry. Yeah, but that doesn't mean she doesn't like you. She's just probably shy, you know? Maybe. My stupid head is making me worry for no reason. It likes to do that. It's okay. Try not to worry so much. Everything will be great. But you can always talk to me about any concerns that you might have. I'm here to help. You're the best. Sayuri gives Monika a quick pop energy! I'm also trying to keep myself just a little bit more tame than usual because I'm once again recording in the presence of other people who are trying to rest, so... Man, I can't, like, yell. I have to be restrained. Well, I want to keep trying because I love her, and I want to get closer to her. You got this, Sayuri. Yes, Sayuri, I believe in the power of friendship. You can do it. After the next club meeting starts, Sayuri is the last one in as usual. Trotting into the room, she sees Natsuki sitting alone by the closet reading what must be manga. Without hesitation, Sayuri pulls up a chair and plops herself down right next to Natsuki. Hello there. Hi. What you reading? Can I read it with you? Natsuki pulls the book away from Sayuri. You can't just start in the middle. There's spoilers. Besides, what about the one I gave you yesterday? Sorry, I was just curious. Well, anyway, I've been waiting forever for this volume to come out, and it just came out yesterday, so... Oh, that's exciting! Well, I'll let you read it then. Can I sit next to you though? Sure. Sayori plops herself down next to Natsuki, then pulls out a blank sheet of paper. Natsuki reads in silence, save for the periodic flutter of a page being released from beneath her thumb. From Sayori's side, only the light tapping noises of her pen meeting the paper can be heard. Is she taking notes? Or is she doing like a Yuri thing, where she's jotting down notes of the manga she's reading? Sayori's paper is filled with scribbles, and the margins are lined with stick figures. Okay, never mind. Natsuki lets out a deep sigh and closes her book. Did you finish? No, but it's a good stopping point. My head is swimming. I need a break. Natsuki stretches her arms. Aren't you bored? No, I was writing. No, I saw all the stick figures and thought you were just bored. I just drew those when I'm thinking or waiting for inspiration. I made friends with them all. This one is sad because she thinks the night sky is pretty, but she can't look up at the stars in public without everyone thinking she's a weirdo. And this one has problems with his back, but the doctors can't figure out what's wrong with him. What the heck? You're the weirdo. Want to read the poem I'm working on? Sure, but I guess. Sayori slides the paper over to Natsuki. As Natsuki reads through the poem, she furrows her eyebrows. She slides the paper back over to Sayori. Not impressed. Don't you ever feel weird just sharing all your thoughts and feelings like that? I mean, your poems are like really emotional. Is that bad? Well, no, it's just an observation. I think people can get closer to each other if they find ways of expressing their feelings. Well, Natsuki's not really used to that. She begins to protest, but she can't find a good way of putting her thoughts into words. Doesn't that depend more on the kind of friends you have? I don't know. To each their own, but I've never met anyone I'd feel comfortable sharing my poems with. It's because you have toxic friends, Natsuki. As I said before, you should ditch them. These are your real friends. Sayori, Yuri, Monica, they're your real buddies now. It's not that it's you, it's just how I am, so... You write poems? You never told me that. I just thought you wrote other stuff. Yeah, that too, but... You should... I mean, would you ever want to share? Like I said, I don't want to do that. But... Can we talk about something else? I'm sorry. It's not your fault. It's just making me uncomfortable. I can't help it. Still, I'm sorry. It's fine. Well, let's move on to something that makes us both happy. I should continue the book you gave me, since I didn't get very far yet. Sure. Over the next few days, Sayori begins each club meeting by approaching Natsuki with unwavering enthusiasm. It's Natsuki! Natsuki! Uh-oh, she's getting a bit fed up. Hi, Natsuki! At the end of one club meeting, Monica, who has become rather invested in Sayori's friendship mission, starts an innocuous conversation with Natsuki while she packs up. It's cool that you've been finding time to spend with Sayori. She was pretty excited for the chance to read manga with you. Yeah. I'm sure you've been enjoying the chance to share it too, right? Yeah, mostly. Natsuki glances over her shoulder but doesn't reply further. What's on your mind? Nothing. I don't talk about people behind their backs. Oh. Natsuki falls silent, but she just fidgets instead of getting back to what she was doing, as though she wants to say more. It's okay to share your feelings. It's different from talking about someone behind their back. I guess. I just hate it when people talk about me behind my back, so I'm better than to do it to others. Monica shares a bright smile. You're really considerate. Thanks, I guess, but it doesn't feel like it. You can trust me. Natsuki stands in silence for a moment, still fidgeting. I just feel smothered sometimes. I'm not used to someone being like all over me right after we meet. I mean, it's fun to hang out with her, but I just have no control over the pace. I can't just meet someone and instantly become best friends with them and like share everything about myself. That's not how it works. I just want to chill out sometimes. I'm like that too. There are some people, some friends in my life who, you know, I like their company, but yeah, sometimes they can be a bit of a handful. There's such a thing as just too much, you know? In fact, I think it's starting to become a little bit of a running theme with Sayori. A little too much effort, you know? It happened with Yuri, it's happening with Natsuki. Oh, I didn't realize that was happening. It's fine, why would you have? I know, I just feel bad about it. I know Sayori, so I should have realized. Monica navigates through her tinge of guilt, which has surfaced mainly due to her being the only one who previously encouraged Sayori's behavior. Despite not knowing the situation, Monica can't help but feel a little responsible. Do you want me to talk to her about it? No, I wouldn't like that. Well, I don't know. I could like divert it into another club activity for you or something. No way. That would be so underhanded and mean. Sorry, I didn't think that one through. Besides, just because I complained about it doesn't mean I'm asking for someone to solve my problems for me. True. I'm sorry. I guess I just instinctively want to try and solve problems, even if I haven't been invited to. It's fine. I would talk to Sayori about it, but it would make things really weird between us. I feel like it would just make her just constantly be afraid that she's bothering me. I know how to just keep things natural. Well, I think if you do a good job expressing all your feelings, she would totally understand. Sayori really wants to be the best she can for other people. I think she would actually be happy if you want to improve your friendship with her. Maybe. Ugh, this feels so dumb. Talking to someone about how to be friends with them? It's just weird and not cool. Monica shrugs. It's a literature club. Then she mumbles through a stifled laugh. It's not the cool club. Hey! Sorry. That just tickled me for some reason. Look, I know you're kind of in a tough spot. That's hard for you to really express yourself. But you really demonstrated to me that you're great at self-reflection and critical thinking, even if it doesn't feel like it to you. I think that's the most important part of being able to navigate through these things. So I believe you'll find the right thing to do. Well, Natsuki instinctively tries to reject the compliment, but she can't find any excuse to do so. Thanks. Natsuki gathers her things and then she finishes her thought in a mumble. I'm so glad I joined the club, even if it's a little weird sometimes. Weird is good, Natsuki. Weird is good. Monica smiles, but Natsuki turns her back and walks away before waiting for a reply. It was an unusual way for Natsuki to express her appreciation, but Monica knew what she meant. It made Monica feel like everything really was going to be okay. Is it though? Is it gonna be okay? Well, we'll find out in Balance Part 2. Begin the side story? Yeah. Will we get the thrilling conclusion to this manga? It's lunchtime. Sayori, who usually buys her lunch, is making her way to the cafeteria like any other day. The clamor and bustle of the students is drowned by Sayori's impeccable skill of zoning out. Ooh. However, her imagination is momentarily interrupted by the glimpse of a familiar pink-haired girl. Hey, that's Natsuki! I never run into the other club members around the school. Natsuki! Sayori stands on her tippy toes and waves. Natsuki, who's busy walking and chatting with her friends, doesn't notice Sayori at first. Then she glances over in Sayori's direction. Sayori waves enthusiastically. Following her friends, Natsuki quickly ducks around the corner. Hey! She definitely saw me. Don't take it the wrong way, Sayuri. She's just really shy. And she thinks you're a handful. Which you kind of are sometimes. But to each their own. Monika is the first to arrive at the club meeting, then Natsuki. Sayuri, having glanced through the window to see Natsuki already inside, is unable to work up the courage to enter. Natsuki's been so distant with me. I was stupid to think she ever wanted to be friends. Hey, no! She only ever got excited because she got to share her manga. But aside from that, she doesn't even like me. I should just go home today. Oh, Yuri to the rescue? Sorry, but do you plan on going inside? No. Why? I'm sulking. Oh. Well, I'm sorry for bothering you. Excuse me. No, don't leave me. Oh, okay. I'll stay here then. I don't want to go in. I'm afraid of bothering Natsuki. I saw her at lunch today, so I waved and called out to her, but instead of saying hi, she just ran away from me. Really? Not bad. Hey! Sorry. It was just a joke. It just sounded like something stupid that I would do from anxiety. Yeah, you know, Yuri was in a similar situation. From anxiety? Well, I just don't like attention being drawn to myself. Well, that makes sense based on the person you are. But Natsuki isn't shy like that at all. I thought we were friends. Well, it feels like every day she's just trying to distance herself more instead of getting closer. It makes me feel like she was only spending time with me during the club because I was reading manga. But she didn't actually want to be friends with me. Well, I feel like I'm missing a lot of context here. Was she in the middle of anything when you approached her? No, she was just walking with her friends. Yuri pauses for a moment. How do I put this? Sorry, Sayuri, you're very fond of your friends, right? You always want to be spending time with them. Of course! I don't think there's anything more important to me. Friends. I mean, the best parts of my day are always with my friends. Besides that, I really hate being alone, so... You hate being alone? Sayuri nods. We're very different people. I cherish my time alone. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So I think... Well, if I was trying to have alone time and it was being threatened with an interruption, then... it wouldn't make me very happy. Well, but that doesn't have to be with Natsuki. She was already with her friends, not trying to be alone or anything. No, I think it's similar. Well, we're all friends in the club. But we have our own lives outside of the club as well. If you think about it, making new friends isn't some casual occurrence that happens on a daily basis. A friendship is an invitation to intertwine your lives together. But the capacity at which each person is ready to do that might be different. There are friends who just like to have fun together, and others who talk every day and share every detail of their lives with each other. I think, when establishing a friendship, it's important to consider the comfort level of the other person. I mean, we don't really know much about Natsuki's life outside of the club. It could be that she simply needs to make friends at her own pace, rather than jump headfirst into a new commitment. But that means I really was bothering her? I just really wanted to be good friends with her, so I treated her like one. Was I really hurting her? I don't know. I'm sorry. My insight was really only based on what I understand about my own needs. And Natsuki and I are completely different, so... Why was I so selfish? Even if all that is true, that means I still hurt her. I think I messed up. Yuri, with you, I think I was really careful to understand your needs when I was becoming friends with you. But I wasn't careful at all with Natsuki because she already seemed really social. I just took control of everything instead of looking for the right balance. Now I really hurt her and she doesn't even want to talk to me. How could I let myself do this? I mean, granted, Natsuki likes to pose like a strong front. But that's only because she's trying to hide her, I guess insecurities, shyness. Sayori, I think that, well, there was one time you told me about the way I saw things in my head being different from reality. It's easy to automatically jump to the worst case scenario, but I think it's more likely that Natsuki doesn't harbor any ill feelings towards you. So I think if we were to realistically consider the situation and how it would cause someone to feel, I'm bad at this, I'm sorry. Well, you're doing a good job at consoling Sayori. You're a lot better than me at things like comforting and reassuring people. Suddenly, Sayori gives Yuri a gentle, friendly hug. You're the best, Yuri. I'm sorry for burdening you with this. You're trying so hard for me. You're such a sweetheart. I just... It's not a burden. I enjoy listening to others. And my friends deserve happiness. Sayori beams. Hey, Sayori's rubbing off on you. Well, I think I'm gonna give Natsuki some space. She should do what she wants. And if she does still want to be friends, then I'll learn her needs and I'll match her boundaries. Yeah, I'm sure that's what's best. I wish I didn't feel so awful and guilty though. It makes me feel desperate, like I need to make it up to her by trying to make her happy. But that's not what she needs. I just have to tell myself that. It hurts, but I guess it means I still need to grow. I really want to grow as a person. If it's to be better for my friends, I want that. That's very mature of you, Sayori. I'm mature! Sayori hops up and down on her toes. So does that mean you'll be going home after all? Sayori shakes her head. I need to be there to show her that I respect her space. I'll just spend the club by myself today. So Yuri nods in understanding. You can go in first. Okay. You're blocking the door. Oh! Sayori steps aside. By the way, before Yuri enters the club room, Sayori interjects. You said that you and Natsuki are completely different, but I don't think that's true. I think you're actually really similar in a lot of ways. It's just how you carry yourself across. Sayori, that's absurd. You're very silly sometimes. Yuri turns and enters the club room. After a moment, Sayori follows. Okay, Sayori, let's see how this goes. The club room is quiet. When Sayori walks in, Natsuki glances in her direction. Sayori smiles and gives Natsuki a quick wave before sitting down across the room. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. Sayori decides it's best to continue the manga she was reading, so she pulls it out. However, it looks like Natsuki isn't reading today. She has a sheet of paper in front of her and is tapping a pen against her desk, staring at it. Oh, it's just like a role reversal. Ooh, are we writing today? Monika speaks in a quiet voice, unwilling to disturb the peace of the club room. She kneels down at Natsuki's desk. Hey! Natsuki pulls the sheet closer to her and covers it with her arms. Sorry, I didn't mean to peek. Whatever. I just wanted to see how everything was going. It's fine. Natsuki replies dismissively. She glances over at Sayori, who is focused on her manga. Monika follows Natsuki's gaze. I think she's mad at me. How come? I'm busy right now. Ask me later. Monika falls silent. Natsuki looks back down at her paper. She inches her hand away from the top margin, allowing Monika to see. It says to Sayori. Understanding, Monika smiles. She places a hand on Natsuki's shoulders and whispers softly. Oh, is this an apology letter? I'm proud of you. Natsuki looks away but makes no motion to remove Monika's hand. Monika gives Natsuki's shoulder a quick squeeze before standing back up and pulling away. The end of the club meeting passes. Yuri has already departed. So has Monica after checking on Sayuri and Natsuki to ensure they wouldn't stay too late. Sayuri was determined to finish her manga volume before heading out since the end was approaching. However, with Natsuki also staying late for an unknown reason, a silent tension hangs in the air. After finishing the volume, Sayuri brings it to the closet to put it away. She slides it back onto the shelf while Natsuki watches intently. Then Natsuki gets up and pulls it back out in order to return it to its proper location. Sorry. I didn't know where it was supposed to go. It's fine. The two fall silent again, avoiding eye contact. They both look like they're about to say something, but neither can break the silence. A moment passes. Well, I'll be on my way. See you tomorrow. Sayuri turns to hide her pained expression, then walks away from the closet. If there was any proof Natsuki no longer wanted to be friends, this was it. Defeated, Sayuri carries herself out of the club room. Hey, no! Natsuki's just a little bit shy still. Once in the hallway, Sayuri takes a deep breath and hits her palms against her cheeks to clear her head a little. Suddenly, Natsuki's stammering voice calls from behind. Natsuki? Startled, Sayuri turns back around to face Natsuki. Natsuki fidgets and anxiously continues with a shaking voice. I have a lot of things to say. Me too. But you go first. Natsuki bites her lip and can't stay still. Well, first of all. She cuts herself short, struggling to continue. Trying to force the words out, she stamps her foot and hops up and down a little. I'm sorry for the thing I did at lunch. And I'm sorry for being kind of mean lately. It's really hard for me to, I'm not good with things that make me feel uncomfortable. Especially when it comes to, like feelings and stuff. So, it would seem pretty alien to you, Natsuki, especially when you've hung around people who don't give you the same warm and fuzzy feelings that Sayuri does. Instead of continuing, she simply holds up a sheet of paper for Sayuri to take. The best place in the world. I love my bedroom. It's full of bright colors and soft things. The sunlight shines in and makes everything sparkle. It's the best place in the world. It has all my treasures, all my books, my collections, my memories. All my dreams were born in this room. It's the best place in the world. It has all my secrets, all my failures, my fears, my feelings. Sometimes it feels so fragile that the door will break at the slightest touch, but it's still the best place in the world. But when someone knocks, I get scared. I brace my arms against the loose hinges. Please don't break. Don't come in. I'm not ready. It's my best place in the world. The knocking won't stop. I block the door with furniture. An eye peeks through the keyhole, and I panic. I'm trapped in the best place in the world. I'm not ready to share my favorite place. I need to clean my secrets and make my bed to hide my nightmares. I need to touch them to put them away. To see them again. I have so much to do and I'm scared. I'm not ready, but it's still my favorite place. I still want to share it. However long it takes, if you wait patiently, I'll eventually open the door and I'll show you the best place in the world. Alright, so this is basically Natsuki's confession that, she's startled about people sort of making their way into her life. And this is just her telling Sayuri that, I need to get used to you a little first before I let you enter in the best place in the world. It's a poem. But I thought... Well, I sucked it up so I could work things out with you. So just be happy about it. Please? Sayuri smiles deeply from the bottom of her heart. I'm happier than I can express. I feel so awful, but I'm so happy that you would do this for me. I actually realized before the club meeting today that I made a mistake. I got so caught up in the chance to get closer to you that I forgot to think about what you wanted. and that we probably have different ways we like to make friends. About like the friendship stuff. I mean, it's okay. I understand, so you don't have to force yourself to talk about it. Your poem did a good job, so don't force yourself if you're not ready yet, okay? Natsuki nods. You don't have to feel like you did anything wrong. It was my fault, and I'm sorry. I wasn't mad at you today or anything like that. I actually felt really guilty and wanted to give you space. I was thinking it's silly that I'd just approach you all the time and that I should just let you approach me when you wanted to. Just whatever makes you comfortable. I respect that from now on. Friendship should always start with those things. With the right balance. Natsuki nods again. One thing about that. Well, I don't want to have to approach you all the time either. I just wanted to be balanced, like you said. Sayuri nods. I understand. We'll make sure of that together then. Well, anyway. Now that the two of them have found common ground, Natsuki finds it easier to speak more freely again. I'm not gonna be like sharing my poems all the time now or anything like that. Hey, come to think of it. Hey, Natsuki wrote kind of like a Sayuri poem almost. Almost. It's a nice little touch. A little bit better than Eagles Can Fly, don't you agree, guys? But I guess it wouldn't hurt to do once in a while. Only the best ones. So you better like them, because otherwise I might change my mind. I like anything you do, Natsuki. I was just saying. More importantly, I have to tell you about my new boyfriend. What? Huh? Oh, from the manga. Wait, I need to guess who it is. You definitely won't be able to guess. The two of them walk down the hallway together. Oh my god. We have so much to talk about. Darn, I should have told you to save the last 2 chapters so I could see your reaction to the big reveal. Oh, you wanted to enjoy it with me? That's so cute. Oh, shush. Aw, what a cute friendship those two have. Well, that was balanced, guys. Nice. As for my final reflections, I guess as I said before, there have been people in my life who bless their souls, you know. They're really nice people and that, but yeah, they can be very overwhelming to be around, and sometimes I just want some alone time. So don't, if your friend sort of just wants to distance themselves from you, don't think of it like you did anything wrong, especially if you did nothing wrong. Think of it as, you know, they just need their own space. And then, in the future, you can probably, inquire them about it, you know? Once they're ready to open up and share. It's about that balance. Yeah. Alright, so, next up, we've got reflection. I will cut off the recording here so that I can make this a separate video, but yeah. I have a lot of time left. I can, actually tackle all of these side stories if I wanted to. Yeah, let me do that. Alright, see you guys in a bit. Peace. Ooh, speaking of reflections, now we move on to reflection. Starring Yuri and Monica this time. Interesting combination. Am I bothering you? No. Okay, just checking. It's hard to tell with you since you always look so into it when you're reading. Makes me scared to interrupt. Well, it's within my expectations to be interrupted when I read here. It's mainly when I'm by myself that I don't like it. That makes sense. I guess if you're here in the first place, then you're more ready to socialize, even if it takes a little bit of prodding. It's not so bad to be social if I let others do the work, so it can be healthy to put up myself in a social environment every now and then. It's mostly difficult when I don't know anybody, or there are too many people, or everyone is being too silly for me to keep up with. Yuri glances across the room at Sayuri Natsuki. Sayuri has her head cocked back and her mouth wide open. trying to catch pieces of a cookie that Natsuki is lobbing into the air, but the pieces keep bouncing off her face and hitting the floor. You're gonna put it... Hey, man. I know, like, the 10-second rule, is it? The 3-second rule might sort of apply, but I don't believe in that sort of stuff. Once it's on the floor, bin it. No need. They just ran out of cookie. What a waste. They're really becoming good friends, haven't they? I'm happy. Sayuri seems particularly good at making that happen. But the two of them are both on the energetic side, so I suppose it works out well. Yeah, come to think of it, you and I haven't had many chances to talk one-on-one, haven't we? No, that may be partially my fault since I'm supposed to be the one engaging club members. Not at all. I probably formed a bit of a habit of drawing minimal attention to myself. The responsibility is equally on me, at least to display some openness to engage. Well, what about drink times like lunch? Do you meet up with friends? I just read. Oh. But I like it that way. It was nice to be carried off again after a morning of classes. Do you always read fantasy? Oh, not always. I suppose it's all I've read recently, but only because I'm in the middle of this series. There's still 2 more books after this one. I guess those long books suit you well, since you spend so much time reading. Well, fantasy may be my favorite, but after that, I'm more or less indiscriminate to genres. I'll read anything with depth and maturity. Oh yeah? Even like romance? There are a lot of books that have elements of romance in them. Ah, come on, Yuri, you know what I mean. Like, you know, Twilight, 50 Shades of Darkness. Monica lowers her voice. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, so I won't tell anyone if you do too. Maybe more when I was in middle school. I mean, I was really lonely and people were mean to me a lot. So it kind of felt like, please don't make me think about the past. Sorry, I just got super curious. You know, we should totally pick out a romance novel to read. That'd be so much fun. Absolutely not. Really? Even if it's just between us? I mean, romance books are quite intimate, you know? I personally wouldn't feel comfortable trying to share my romantic novel experiences. Try asking someone who has no shame, like Natsuki. Ouch! Sorry, I swear I didn't mean that. Well, I guess it's my fault for pressing you. I'm like that for things in my past too, you know? Things I feel too embarrassed to re-experience. There's nothing wrong with growing out of things, it happens to everyone. For instance, Natsuki's interest in manga reminds me quite a bit of how intense I used to be about my own interests. It makes me feel like that she'll likely grow out of it too. Hey, were you talking about me? No, we were just talking about how our interests have changed over the years. When did you get into manga, Natsuki? Like a couple years ago, I guess. I was already sort of into it before that, but I wasn't really going hard until then. Oh yeah? What was it that inspired you to get more into it? I don't know. I guess... let me think. I guess it was after I discovered a series I really liked, Parfait Girls. Yeah, I was just really fed up with a lot of things, and I got super into this one series that I really related to. I guess I had an edgy phase where I just hated everyone around me and wanted to be myself. Ain't that everyone in their teenage life? Hey, kinda like Yuri. Monica? Sorry. That's completely wrong, so it's still cool that you both found your thing. They're almost like opposites, but it sounds like they really helped you a lot through hard times. You know it. Wow, what the heck? Is that book even bigger than the last one you were reading? It's technically slightly longer, but not by very much. How high do you think it would go if you were to stack up the whole series? Natsuki estimates by holding her hand high above her head, sizing up an imaginary stack. I should get one of those mangas that's like 50 volumes long so I can say I've read more than you. Not that I have the money for that though. Please, that would hardly count when your books only have a few words per page. I know, I was just joking. I could never actually read books like yours. It's just too boring for me. Oh no, we're having a bit of a clash right here. Yuri shoots a glare at Natsuki. It's not boring. Chill, I said it for me, not for you. I have my own opinion. I just think it's too convoluted. Uh-oh. I think you two should, you know, part off a little bit. Hey, Sayuris, are those from the floor? Gross! Also, wash your hands before touching any of my books. But my hands aren't dirty. Just do it. The oils are there even if you can't see them. Fine. Sayuri trots out the door and Natsuki follows. Okay, so Monica to the rescue, actually. Yuri, you look a little bit upset. What kind of nerve does she have to call my hobby boring? Well, she did correct herself. Hardly. She was so condescending. I don't mind if she thinks it's not for her. I already understand that it's not for everybody. But she knows well enough how much this means to me. So how about just leaving me alone instead of needlessly telling me the things you hate about it? I think she was just trying to relate, you know? As blunt as she was, I think she was just trying to strike up a bit of a banter, you know, Yuri? But, you know, Yuri ain't about banter. You may be right. This won't be the last time people have strong feelings about what they like and don't like. Especially in a literature club, so I should figure out how to mediate discussions to keep them positive and constructive. For the record, I've always been impressed by the level of creativity in your books, and also your ability to get through them so quickly. Thank you. Okay, well, this is something that I'll have to think about and revisit. I'm sure I'll help Natsuki find some common ground with you. Common ground isn't necessary. I just wish to be respected. That, then. Either way, I'll do my best. I'm skeptical when it comes to Natsuki. I trust you, Monica, but I'm skeptical. Hey, no, give Natsuki a chance. She's just a little blunt. Okay, everybody, we have a special club meeting today. As you know, the Literature Club is a place where we get to share things that we're really passionate about. But that also means we should be mindful about how we respond to each other's feelings. I think we have a chance to turn our differences into positive energy for each other. Aren't you being a little dramatic about this? This is important to me. Well, sorry, I just feel like I'm being accused or something. Oh no, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm sorry if it came out that way. But our conversation yesterday made me reflect on the power of language, and I thought it would be a good topic for the Literature Club, don't you think? I'm sure we're going to have differences in opinion a lot, so I need to make sure we're prepared to keep a positive atmosphere in the club. If you say so. Sure. The cool thing about language is that it gives us a lot of different ways to express the same idea or emotion. We have a lot of control over how we want the other person to feel when receiving our thought. This goes for poetry, narratives, casual conversation, basically anything. For example, Sayuri, what is your favorite food? I have them organized by category. Should I start with snacks, or do you mean full meals? Hey, should I start with breakfast? Jeez. Okay, how about your favorite fruit? That's easy. Cherries. Really? Hey, it's red, like your hair. Bow tie. Yeah, it is a bow tie, right? On her head. I always thought cherries taste nasty. Oh, okay. What? Cherries are delicious. Whoa, that's a pretty strong reaction. Well, I just don't understand how someone could think cherries are nasty. How does that make you feel? I don't know. Sad? Defensive, maybe? Yeah, I got defensive. See, the reason you had such a strong reaction wasn't because I don't like cherries. It's because you felt your opinion was under attack. But that's weird, right? Something like taste is completely subjective. But when I say something like, I think cherries taste nasty, I'm using objective language. I'm challenging Sayori's reality that cherries are delicious with my own, which is that cherries are nasty. Wait a sec, hold on. How is that objective when you said it was only your opinion? It has to do with how our brains interpret the words. You're talking about the reality of the cherries, not your feelings about them. Like Sayori. Let's rewind for a second and pretend I didn't tell you that I think cherries are nasty. Good! They're not, Monica, okay? So, what if instead of that I said, like, I tried cherries and they're just not for me. It's not the kind of flavor I enjoy. Well, that's fine. As long as you don't call them nasty. Nasty's a nasty word. Okay, so cherries was kind of a weird example, but I think it gets the point across. This time around, instead of talking about the cherries, I just talked about my feelings, and Sayori didn't get defensive. So instead of clashing with each other, it's like we received an invitation to talk about our differences. Yuri, you don't need to take notes. I'm not gonna quiz you on anything. I know that. I was just... Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. You can do whatever you like. But does anyone have any thoughts so far? Yeah, I just feel like I shouldn't have to put all my language to a filter just to protect someone's feelings. Oh, you don't have to. The choice is yours and how you want it to come across to other people. I'm only suggesting it as a tool to help turn your differences into a positive experience rather than an argument. Right, Sayori? Whatever you say, cherry hater. Oh, come on. Sayori, I actually like cherries. I was just saying that to help demonstrate. Oh, what the heck? I've been duped. I'm sorry, Sayori. I'll make it up to you later. I'll give you a nice cherry salad. What in the world is that gonna taste like? Honestly though, cherries, I guess they're okay if they're in a dessert. I personally wouldn't eat them alone. Unless they're those like fake Valentine kind of like cherries. Manufactured synthetic. How about a cherry sundae? You're welcome to dupe me anytime, my beloved president. Buying your people's loyalty. How deplorable. Oh, like you would turn down a free sundae, Yuri. Oh no! You're clearly a fan of those cupcakes I brought in the other week. That was, I was reading and not keeping track of them. Okay, that's enough. We're getting off topic. So, now that we have the gist of it, how about we try with something more relevant to the club? Like manga, right? Let's try to have a productive discussion about our differences in opinion. Yuri, do you want to start? Well, I'd rather not, no. Aw, how come? Well, because I don't see how anything productive could come from that. Oh, that comes with some implications. It's just gonna start a fight. No, it'll be fine. That's why I'm here to moderate. Let's just have a calm and rational discussion. Give me a little more credit, Yuri. I'm not a child. You don't have to coddle my feelings. I always think it's more respectable to just speak your mind. Respectable? Yuri's expression changes at that word. As Monica recalls, being respected was the crux of the matter for Yuri. Well, the point of the exercise isn't exactly like, it's fine. I have nothing against anyone personally. You're entitled to enjoy whatever it is you like. I just prefer more in-depth and nuance in my reading material. I look for stories that are imaginative and sophisticated beyond the surface level. Oh, well, that's just a misunderstanding then. I thought you were going to say that manga's for children or something like that. Like I don't hear enough of that. But there's plenty of deep manga. I mean, that's true. I'm not clueless about manga. I've read my fair own share when I was younger. What? Are you serious? How come you never told me? Because I'm past that point in my life, and I'd really prefer not to revisit it. I prefer more... Well, Yuri, you're implying things now. Excuse me? Okay, hold on, hey, can I jump in here? let's try to keep things subjective. Because if you imply that manga is immature, then aren't you implying that someone is immature for being into it? Uh-oh. What's gonna happen? Well, maybe it's immature to judge people for having different tastes than you. Natsuki, you're not helping, Natsuki! Nobody's immature! I've read Natsuki's manga and Yuri's fantasy, and I love them both in my own way. Okay. It's great that you like it, but I still find it boring. Boring isn't subjective, Natsuki. Okay, it bores me. That's subjective. But I mean, the thing about... This is ridiculous. You see why I didn't want to participate in this? I knew it was just going to make people upset. I'm not upset. Like I said, I don't care what other people think. But I always get the impression that you secretly look down upon me. So I'm just glad my suspicions were confirmed. Hey, that's not true at all. You're just making assumptions. You can't blame me for getting defensive when nobody has the least bit of respect for the things that I'm into. The only thing I look down upon is when people make fun of me for just being myself and trying to mind my own business. What? Have you looked in a mirror? Tell me again about respect after calling all my interests immature. You can't... Please stop. Please. You don't mean the things you're saying right now. Let's just be friends. I didn't mean for this to happen. Well, it did. So please don't invite yourself to try and solve other people's problems next time, okay? Yuri's piercing words send the classroom into a choked silence as she gathers her things. She leaves. Holy crap! I never heard her sound like that before. She must be so pissed. Well, you weren't very nice either, so... Hey, I was just saying... How did this happen? It's my fault. Yuri wasn't wrong. I shouldn't have tried to moderate a conflict when I know how bad I am at dealing with conflicts. It was a really stupid thing for me to do. It's nobody's fault, and it wasn't stupid. Everyone in the club is a nice person. Nobody would have expected this. Yeah, Monica, like, what you were doing was alright. It's just, you know, granted, everyone here is basically a catalyst for conflict. It's not necessarily your fault. But I guess we're sensitive about the things we love. Honestly, she kind of brought it upon herself. Like I said, I don't care if you're not into manga, but if you look down upon other people for it, that's kind of the point I was trying to make in the first place. It's not about sugarcoating things, it's about just recognizing and understanding our differences. Okay, but here's the thing about that. Yuri actually looks down on me. It has nothing to do with her word choice or anything like that. So I see what you're trying to do, but I really think the problem here is her. Not just the way we wanted to talk to each other, right? I mean, Yuri isn't like that. She's a lot sweeter than you give her credit for. I'm sure she'll be reflecting on this. I think everyone here should. It'll be fine. I'll figure something out. Wow, I'm just like saying that instinctively. I'm just setting myself up to cause more problems. This wasn't your fault, Monica. You don't have to beat yourself up for it. If you ask me, it's good that the truth finally came out. Because I can just move on now. But... that's fine, I promise. Let's just get our minds off this, okay? In fact, it's a good opportunity to read some manga without having to worry about feeding Yuri's superiority complex. Don't be mean. I'll talk or read manga or whatever you want, but don't be mean to my friends, okay? Sorry. I'm just bitter. Everything will be okay. I mean, I don't have the answers, but I at least know that we're all good people and don't want to hurt each other. This'll all be a learning experience. Monica says that, but her uneasiness is given away by how much she has to force the reassuring tone in her voice. This was bound to happen eventually. Natsuki and Yuri have always engaged with each other the least out of anyone, and this is the reason. As Sayuri and Natsuki proceed to distract themselves with manga, Monica sighs to herself, unable to shake her worried thoughts. Will the club really have to just come to terms with the fact that some members will be incompatible with each other? Monica desperately doesn't want to admit that, and she knows Sayuri doesn't either. But for once, a solution doesn't seem to be in sight. At least not until part 2 of Reflection. Wonder how this is going to resolve. A new day arises. Sayuri arrives at the club room earlier than usual. That is, not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still. So she sits down at a desk and pulls out a sheet of paper, primed to jot down her thoughts. Sayuri has made a habit of scribbling her thoughts and feelings onto paper whenever possible, as it tends to serve as her best inspiration for poetry. My heart feels vacant because the ship sailed away. Yo! Yeah! Natsuki! Natsuki pokes her head out from behind the closet door. She was hiding? Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. But it would have been more awkward if I didn't say anything. I doubt you wanted me listening in on your poetry thing. Yeah, thanks for realizing that. Should I let you finish that up then? Oh no, it wasn't. I mean, I just do it whenever it's convenient. You're not interrupting anything. Where's Monica, by the way? Oh, she's out in the hallway. Why? Well, just in case she runs into Yuri. So, sometimes Yuri is too nervous to come into the club room by herself, so... Jeez, does Yuri really let things bother her for that long? I mean, she tends to ruminate, I guess. She can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope when you've got a bad thought in your head. Maybe you can distract yourself for a little while, but as soon as when it's just you and your thoughts again, it comes back. I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened if we all just ignore it and move on. I don't want to be bothered by this. But if you shun it out and bottle it up, eventually it's gonna rear its ugly head in the future. It's gonna burst. So stupid. Her opinion of me doesn't matter anyways. Besides, it just makes me feel really guilty, and I hate that too. It's okay to have feelings. Doesn't make you weak. Let's just figure this out together, okay? Fine. Only because you're good at this stuff. Let's just try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that'll help us understand where your bad feelings are coming from. Well, I was happy the way things were before we had that conversation yesterday. What part of the conversation made you upset? Was it Yuri being mean about the manga? Maybe. I don't doubt it though. Because my friends and other people make fun of manga all the time. But I just brush it off and ignore them. But something about it really got to me this time, and I hate that I'm letting it happen. Maybe it's because you wanted to be better friends with Yuri. Is it because it came from Yuri? No, why would that matter? I mean, I have toxic friends all the time. Well, maybe. I just hate that she thinks she's so much better than me. Just because she likes to pretend to be all sophisticated. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decide that they don't like me or manga or whatever. But Yuri acts like she's too good to even give it a chance. I'm sorry. Everyone deserves a chance. Yeah, exactly. Would you give Yuri's books a chance? After this? Obviously not. How about before this? Well, I wouldn't. I would until I got bored, which wouldn't take very long. But if you actually keep an open mind, it's not hard to realize that the story can be deep and meaningful without being needlessly complicated. I see. But you know, I like Yuri's books. Yeah, but you like manga more, right? Sayuri shakes her head. I like them both. I like them in different ways, but I like them both. I mean, the manga, it's really honest and fun and easy to just let go with. And the fantasy has a lot to interpret and cover, and it's really rewarding to have some good quiet time together with it. But the most important thing is that both the manga and the fantasy are true to themselves. So I like them both. And I think there's room for both of them to be in the same club together. And I just feel like maybe they have more in common than you would think. I mean, yeah, fantasy, fictional world. Manga, fictional world. In fact, there's fantasy manga. How did you get along with everybody so well? I always get into fights with people. Like, first it was with Monica, when I was new at the club, and then it was you, and now it's Yuri. And I'm like, oh, that person's just being such a jerk face. And that they just realized that, then we would all at least get along. But no one else has this problem. I just keep running away from the reality that everyone's just a jerk to me because no one likes me. And I don't know why, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate it. Natsuki. Sayuri puts a comforting hand on Natsuki's shoulder. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved as much as anyone else. Everyone has different ways that they like to communicate, you know? And sometimes that makes it harder for us to understand each other. I think that sometimes we just get lucky and we make friends who are really good at the kinds of communication. And it feels like you magically connect with them. But other times, even if people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other or to get the communication wrong. It's something that Yuri struggles a lot with too. It can be really hard. It takes a lot of reflection and self-awareness and vulnerability, which, you know, I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability. I always have to be the strongest. What do you mean? Tell me about that part of you. Well, it sounds stupid, but I'm really used to people being mean to me. Like my friends, and I guess my dad. Like when I don't get good grades, or when even stupid things like my room isn't clean. So what am I gonna do? Cry about it? Pfft. If I let myself get upset, then it's just letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So things always have to be everyone else's fault. It feels like if something goes wrong, and if there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault, then I just get really angry. And I find ways to blame everything else instead. Do you see yourself better than Yuri? If I said that, then I just found really full of myself. No, our thoughts and our feelings are two different things. Even if we don't like our feelings, we have to understand them if we want to learn more about themselves. That's a part of vulnerability, you know? Accepting that we have feelings that we don't like. I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person. But, you know, the alternative is just being robotic. Or trying to be perfect all the time. And doesn't that just make you even more tired and angsty? Because my feelings just want to tell me that I'm so much better than her. That she's judgmental, know-it-all, who's stuck in her edgy phase, and that I'm just way above that garbage. But I'm terrible for feeling that way. You're not terrible. You're not your feelings. But you're not your feelings. Say that to yourself, out aloud. Fine. I am not my feelings. The way that I like to picture it is that those feelings are like your roommate. You live in the same house and you gotta see each other every day. And even if you can ignore each other most of the time, you're gonna run into each other every now and then, and it's gonna make you feel like poop. So the other option is to get to know each other. You can communicate and learn from each other and maybe even help each other change for the better. Does that help you understand? How do you know so much about this stuff? I just have a roommate that can be really hard to get along with, called depression. Depression? But you're like the happiest person I know. I am not my feelings. Wow. I want to be a good person just like you. Oh, you little sweetheart. We're all good people. You and Yuri and Monica. And I think Yuri will eventually learn that from you. Natsuki remains silent, feeling a little overwhelmed. Despite Sayuri's kind reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to fill her, as though flowing from a wound inside her. Was it a result of her vulnerability? No. It wasn't as though she was inflicted a wound after becoming vulnerable. It was as though she began to rediscover an old wound, one that cannot simply be bandaged and left alone any longer. Wow, Sayuri, that was pretty profound. Wow. Yuri, what are you doing all the way over here? I was looking for you. Please don't yell at me. Oh, I'm not gonna yell at you. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about what happened yesterday. It was unfair for me to put everyone on the spot like that. Next time, I won't just try to jump in and solve everyone's problems. I guess it's just a bad habit of mine. You're not mad at me? I thought you were the one mad at me. I was so awful yesterday. Yuri curls up, recalling the details of the argument. I can't even have a normal conversation without saying something wrong and making everyone upset. Hold on, that's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? Yuri pauses for a second, then manages a nod. Monica, take a seat next to her on the staircase. I'm having a lot of negative thought patterns and I can't get away from them. What kinds of negative thought patterns? Like, everyone hates me, especially Natsuki. Oh, that's terrible. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Well, because... Monica thinks back to the time that she found herself in an altercation with Natsuki. And how a display of maturity from Monica was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think Natsuki's just being naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels the need to protect herself. But you know, she's not a bad person. In fact, I think she can be really thoughtful and considerate. She's just, well, I guess the way it works is she wants to receive some degree of kindness first before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh. But that means the bird is on me. I don't know how to say things that make people like me. Every time I open my mouth, I just... Yuri shakes her head at herself and tugs on her hair. It's okay, Yuri. You don't have to beat yourself up for it. I think anyone would like you if they had the chance to get to know you. Well, unfortunately, the opposite is true. That's why I'm not very talkative anymore in the first place. Because everyone used to think I was just weird or talked about me behind my back. That's just what happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even said she'd find it more respectable if people speak their minds, so I did, and then she just hated me anyways. That was enough to confirm my fears. But Sayuri and I like you, and we've gotten to know you a lot by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. That's not what I meant, really. I just... I was just wondering if you had an opinion of her. I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me, and I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person. So for someone to just treat me like I'm inferior despite my tastes, that's just the worst kind of insults coming from someone like her. And it makes me think bad things about her. But everyone else seems to like her, so the only explanation is that it's me who's doing something wrong again. It's my feelings about her that are wrong. And I'm wrong to get upset over something so childish and inconsequential. No, Yuri. Feelings are never wrong. Well, they're not right. That's the thing. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know? They're just a state of being that we don't always have control over. But that doesn't mean they have to have control over us. I just feel like that's something I've learned around when I first joined the club, or started the club. We can hate ourselves for feeling a certain way about things. Or we can, you know, just acknowledge that they exist and try to understand them better. I can never be mad at you for just feeling a certain way. It's about how you handle them. And I think working through feelings is a great opportunity for teamwork. Yuri wears a dejected expression. You make it sound so easy. You're just so mature. So good with people. I just feel like such a child in comparison. Oh, Yuri. I'm far from perfect. But these are just learned skills. They didn't come naturally to me either. It's just hard to, like, reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from your thoughts. I just want to be a good person. Well, I think it takes a good person to get this far. That's not good enough. I just want to be able to communicate to her. Communicate what? How I feel. How it makes me feel frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of the things that mean so much to me. And how it reminds me of me. Because I know what it's like to feel misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself you're better than everyone else is just a defense mechanism. We're just people. We're fragile and unstable. But I'm just tired of that getting in the way. I can't stand it when the peace is disturbed like this. Yeah, you can't focus on your reading when the peace is disturbed, right? Because the literature club should be happy for everyone. Monica looks at Yuri in adoration. I feel like Sayuri must be rubbing off on me, because I really want to hug you now. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, I mean, if you wanted to, then I really wouldn't mind, so... Monica pulls Yuri into a short embrace. You're so gentle. I love it when you communicate your feelings. I feel lucky to see that side of you. And I'm sure Natsuki will too. I'm gonna write her a letter. Oh, a letter! What a great idea! Just because I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure. I always let my feelings get the best of me, and I forget to say all the important things and say things I don't mean. Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. Such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardens with determination. People don't naturally gravitate towards me like they do for you and Sayuri. My personality just isn't suited for that. And I wouldn't want it to be. But something I've learned is that friendships don't always just magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I never would have seen myself making friends with someone like Sayuri. We're opposite in a lot of ways. But I'm friends with her because she puts so much effort into understanding me so that we can get along. I think it was the same with you. You both gave me a lot of time and patience. And I wonder if she feels the same way. Natsuki? Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make more friends, I had to be somebody that I'm not. That there's a type of person or a magic formula I had to follow in order to make someone like me. And that's just like me to think that, always so occupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendships happen when you think about the other person. That's very true. When you offer time and effort to understand them and respect them and trust that they also want to be a good person. That's what I learned about through my observations in the literature club. Observations? Monica is caught by surprise. Yuri has always kept to herself so much that it's so unusual to hear her suddenly talk about the club like this. But Yuri gently smiles to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about people. So Yuri too. And it makes me happy because I learn a lot of things. That's so sweet. I had no idea it meant that much to you. Monika never thought much about it, but in the past few weeks, Yuri always seemed to be especially attentive when it comes to the problems and concerns of others. Always wanting to listen and learning more about her friends in the club. It's true, so Yuri and Monika are naturally more comfortable with other people and can more easily work through situations of conflict. But that doesn't make them better people. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses and the capacity to improve. And the first step towards improving oneself is reflection and self-awareness. It's something that Yuri never gave herself enough credit for, but that Monika can recognize as an incredible trait. And with that, her confidence in the club is restored. A very shy girl with long pretty hair is wandering through the bustling lunchtime hallways, her fist pressed into her collarbone. When she finds the literature club's president's classroom, she stands at the door, glancing all around her before peering inside. Monika is sitting and chatting with a group of unknown friends. Yeah, as expected, this was a bad idea after all. Suddenly, Monika glances towards the door, making the girl panic and duck out of sight. Before she can regain composure and decide for sure to leave, the classroom door gently opens. Yuri, what a surprise to see you during lunch! Yuri screams a response. Please help me. What? Is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. I don't know how to write letters. Thank goodness, I thought there was some kind of emergency. Monika briefly glances over her shoulder at her other friends. Do you want some help? We can find an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? Feel bad taking you away from your friends. It's totally fine, I promise. We weren't really doing anything anyways. One sec. Monika trots back to her classroom, saying something like, I gotta go, to her friends, and grabs a pen off from her desk before returning to Yuri. Okay, let's find somewhere quiet. Yuri nods and follows Monika as the two of them set off. How are you today? Huh? Me? Well, yeah. Oh gosh, sorry, I was just caught off guard. I'm doing well today. Just tired. I never seem to get enough sleep during the week. How come? I don't know, I think I'm just getting easily distracted. I get really sucked into things and start neglecting all the time. Me too! I do that too! Hey, this classroom's pretty empty. Let's go in there. After peering inside, Monika opens a classroom door and the two of them enter. Yuri's moment of relaxation ends. She watches as Monika pulls up two chairs up to the same desk, then obeys as Monika beckons for her to take a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. You nervous? I really don't want to do this. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. We could do like a drama performance. No way, that would not be Yuri's thing. It's my chance to do something good. I need to take initiative. Gosh, you must be pretty determined. I know how hard it is to step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. You know, that's the thing. Yuri can be surprisingly determined to do things if she just puts her mind into it. That's admirable. And she picks up her pen. Hey, you're left-handed. That's pretty neat. Yeah. Now I don't have to worry about bumping your arm. Monika playfully rubs her shoulder against Yuri's. Sorry, I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyway, how about we get started by listing the different things you want to say to her? Yuri thinks. I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. No, it's okay. How about some of the things you said to me yesterday? Oh, but... Never mind, guess I'll try. Yuri thinks for a moment longer, her tension evident. Then she writes the word reflection. This is about my reflection on our behavior. The key question is why we act like this towards each other, but have been able to separately be friends with Sayuri and Monica. That's me! Yes, it is. So, Yuri thinks, I've been able to befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests. The same goes for Natsuki too. We started off as pretty hostile to each other because I was so worried about getting what I wanted, but she just wanted to be respected more than anything else. Once I stopped making it all about me, she was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So what kind of things do you want to do for her? I want to do the same things for her that I like to receive. I like it when people respond positively to the things I talk about and not just brush me off. I like it when my feelings are taken seriously. And I like when you and Sayuri trust that I want to be a good person, even though I'm not doing a good job at it. Let's write those things down. Okay. Yuri writes some things down. I think the most important thing to remember here is that Natsuki's feeling vulnerable, so we should make sure that the letter puts her first. It's hard when you're feeling hurt, but it never helps to just tell someone all the things that they're doing wrong. I think first you have to make sure that they know you're ready to respect them and listen to them, and admit the things that you could have done better. Then finally, you ask what you should like to do in return. How's that sound for the structure? It could be 3 paragraphs, one for each of those points. I like that. My thoughts were so disorganized. I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. You're so amazing at these things. No, stop. You've done so much more than I have, you know? You spend so much time reflecting and being open-minded. That's the hardest thing for anyone else to do. All I'm doing is helping you put it on a piece of paper. So I think you're the amazing one. Monica gives Yuri's hand a quick squeeze. But as she lets go, she's caught by surprise when Yuri curls her fingers to hook Monica's hand in place. For a while they sit like this in silence, save for the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Yesterday you told me something I've been thinking about a lot. What was that? The thing about how feelings aren't right or wrong, and that there is a state of being we need to come to terms with. It made me think about how a person's behavior isn't just how they decide to be. It's also made of their past experiences and their insecurities. I think that helps me see other people as other actual people, rather than as insignificant side characters who are just out to get me somehow. Is that how you felt about Natsuki? Yuri nods. But in reality, everyone is always trying their best, and everyone wants to be happy. Monica peers over at Yuri's paper, but to her surprise, Yuri pulls it closer, partially covering it with her arm. I have to be able to read it out to help you, you know? It's okay. My thoughts are a little more organized now, after being able to talk to you about it. Now that I'm actually putting it on paper, I realize I really prefer others not to read it. Yuri laughs softly to herself, a rare expression. I'm kinda glad to hear that, actually. I somehow keep finding ways to butt into this whole thing. I've done enough damage. But it's always been so wonderful talking about this. I mean, I always thought you were really smart, but... Yuri smiles. I'll always be terrible at these things. People are just so incomprehensible to me. I never get the hang of being one. But listening to you so much has really helped me get a sense of some things. So just don't call it damage, please. Monica gives Yuri a gentle smile. I can't believe I came to this club looking for fantasy cakes and all I got was real friends who value me. Is that a joke? Of course it is. I guess I still can't tell with you. Sorry. No, I love it. Please never change. As you wish. Yuri glances at the clock. We're almost out of time. Will you be able to finish? Before the end of the day, probably. but I don't want to come to the club the same day that Natsuki reads it. I'm too shy. I can give it to her instead if you like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course, I promise. Thank you. Yuri exhales and the two stand up. I'll message you when it's ready. Monika nods. Good luck, I'm here if you need me. Yuri returns a nod and the two depart. Oh, is it going to continue with self-love? Interesting. Wow, that's pretty neat. Reflection. In terms of reflections, I really like the point about feelings and how it's okay to embrace your feelings and let it out instead of repressing them, but you also can't let it define you either. Feelings are just there. They're a state of mind that we ought to reflect on and see how we stand on a particular issue. And then the next question from there is, what do we do with these feelings? Do we let it control us? Or do we use it to learn from the experience? Another point that I also picked up on was this tendency to try and jump in to solving other people's problems. It doesn't usually work out like that. I know from personal experience, I tried to force myself to be someone's counselor and, well, I just ended up making a fool of myself. If you don't fully consider the person's, circumstances and their own needs, well, you can't really help them much, Or you can try, but you may just end up hurting them, Look, I might be just aimlessly rambling. That's basically me on these reflections. But yeah, think of emotions like tools. Tools that we use to reflect on how we carry on about in our lives. And from there, we can build ourselves to become better people for just about anybody we want to be friends with. Anyways, that was good. That was reflection. And then finally, I got enough time for self-love. But let me take a bit of a break. I've sat here for a good solid hour, and I already feel my mind starting to wander off. It's getting harder and harder to focus on trying to say words and stuttering every now and then. I have to edit those out frequently, so I'm going to take a bit of a break. Alrighty, I'm back, guys. I said I took a tiny bit of a break. 4 minutes, just to walk around, swing my lightsaber around. I have a lightsaber in my room. And just have a stretch. And I'm here at the thrilling conclusion of these side stories. Aww, it's gonna be sad to finish this little anthology of really nice side stories. I like these. Gives the characters a lot more life than just them being candidates for a pseudo dating simulator that turns out to be a carnival of horrors. It's only been 1 day since Yuri's letter was delivered to Natsuki with Monika's help. Because Yuri chose not to attend a club meeting that day, she and Natsuki haven't faced each other since. Ooh, it's gonna be awkward. Although it's only lunchtime, Yuri finds herself anxiously counting the hours until she will need to face the outcome of her efforts, whether good or bad. And because the passing by of students was making her feel even more anxious, Yuri picked out the most secluded spot she could find to spend her lunch. Because the staircase is under maintenance, no student would have any reason to come here. It was such a relaxing feeling to have a moment of solitude in the middle of this frantic school day. What? Never mind, you two ran into each other. Okay. What are you doing here? Yuri grips her book with enough force to wrinkle the pages beneath the pressure of her thumbs. Well, what are you doing here? I just came to get a drink from the vending machine. The other one is out of the drink I like. Yuri notices Natsuki fidgeting with a few coins between her fingers. She nods, avoiding eye contact. Natsuki, also looking away, shuffles over to the vending machine. It's so quiet that every one of her movements seem to reverberate through the entire stairwell. After far too long, she finally receives her beverage, which she then fidgets with in her place of the coins. It's some kind of iced tea. But instead of leaving right away, Natsuki just stands in place. She glances all around her. It's like way too quiet back here. It's creepy. I mean, that's not what I meant, really. I mean, it's totally cool if it's your thing or whatever. Like, I can see how it suits you. So, not because I think you're creepy or something. I didn't mean that either. You know, I'm just gonna stop talking. This seems like a good idea. It's okay. Everything is okay. Yuri finds herself attempting some words of comfort after hearing Natsuki stammer herself into dejection. Seemingly in response, Natsuki approaches the base of the staircase and hesitantly sits herself down near Yuri. Well, I can leave if you want. Yuri shakes her head. Natsuki twists the cap off her drink and takes a sip. Despite receiving Yuri's general permission, Natsuki doesn't say anything more. Yuri continues to read, or at least pretends to. And the two of them just sit there for a long time. The tension seems to fade a little bit as time passes. Even without any words, it seems to mean at least something, though it's not clear to what that may be. Lunch ends more quickly than expected. Natsuki is the first to stand up with her empty drinking bottle. Are you coming today? To the club? Yuri nods. I'm sorry for being so awkward. I'm really bad at talking about this stuff. I just can't for some reason. I don't know why. But I want to, eventually. There's no rush. I promise. Thanks. Yeah, this is a start. This is a good start. You know, these two are basically like complete polar opposites. They wouldn't ever dare to get anywhere near each other. But, you know, they sat down. Natsuki appears from around the corner and steps up to the vending machine, glancing at Yuri as she does so. Today she seems to be holding some kind of book as well. Oh, you're here again. Well, I just came here to read this. So, because there aren't many people around here. Oh, I thought you didn't like how quiet it was. Well, I don't, but there's no people here. I see. Natsuki sits down. The mood feels much different today than it did yesterday. After yesterday's lunch and the club meeting that followed, Natsuki and Yuri are beginning to feel more relaxed around each other again. Although Yuri's letter is still lingering in the back of Natsuki's mind, she continues to detour around it. But it's okay that I'm here? Yeah, I don't care. I mostly just don't like dealing with the crud I get from my friends about it. Especially since, like, they all assumed I stopped reading manga after I joined the literature club. Suckers! Not that I'm trying to hide it from them exactly. But I just don't want it to come up again now after I've waited so long for this new volume to come out. Literally months at this point. You don't have other friends who are into manga? Not unless online friends count. And Sayori, but she's different because she's not exactly into it. She just likes it. You know what I mean? Honestly, you're lucky that the books you're into at least just look like books. So you don't have to feel like everyone is constantly judging you by what you're reading. That would be so awful. Especially since I already hate attention so much. Well, it's a good thing I have thick skin, I guess. By the way, I would totally recommend finding some friends online if you haven't already. If you're like me and have no one else to share your hobbies with. Oh, I have online friends. Since middle school, actually. I was especially desperate back then. It's somewhat embarrassing to reminisce about those days. Sometimes I feel like the me from a few years ago would have benefited from a good smack across the face. Oh, whatever. We were all just stupid kids back then anyway. Yeah, I can testify to this. Some of the fanfictions I wrote, thank God I used a pseudonym. But I liked it at the time. I got a lot of fulfillment out of it. And plus, I can look back and say with confidence that I've become a better person since then. So I don't think I would change anything. I wonder if a few years from now we'll all think the same thing about our current selves. Probably. You know, someone told me something interesting. Imagine yourself now. Give yourself even a year from now, or 10 years, you'll be a completely different person. I used to be quite the brightest light bulb back in primary school, but now I'm this brick-faced deadweight that Natsuki makes fun of. That doesn't make you feel uncomfortable? No, of course not. I don't care what other people think of me. Especially someone who doesn't even exist yet. Alright, here. Natsuki raises her hand to her face and forcibly slaps her own cheek. That's me from the future coming to terms with me right now. Also, ow! I didn't mean to do it so hard. Yuri doesn't seem to react. But then, to Natsuki's surprise, Yuri shyly looks the other way before lifting her arm and doing the same to herself, loudly smacking her cheek. She turns red and stares into her lap, and is unable to hide a smile as though it was a really funny joke. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I didn't know you had it in you. I don't even know I did that. Maybe I just thought it would be funny. No, sorry, I keep distracting you. You said you were looking forward to reading, but I keep going on about this nonsense. I'll let you continue to your reading. Oh, right. Yeah, I guess I'll do that then. The conversation ends quickly and Natsuki opens her book. We're getting places, okay? That's nice. The two read silently for the remainder of the lunch hour. But the whole time, Yuri feels distracted by a twist of regret over having so abruptly forced the end of their conversation. You're back. Yeah, I'm just here to lay low again. Another day has passed. During lunchtime, Natsuki finds herself having wandered to the stairway once more. Hey, did you buy that? Natsuki quickly notices a bottle of iced tea in the staircase where she would normally sit. Yuri nods, avoiding eye contact. What, like, for me? But you didn't know I was coming here today. What if I didn't show up? Well, I would have drank it myself, I guess. Yeah, it was a stupid thing to do. No, it wasn't stupid. I just thought... Never mind. What I meant to say is thank you. And it's a really nice gesture. It's okay if you don't feel that way. I do! It was just the other things that I didn't mean. I swear, please believe me. Yuri pauses, then nods. Talking is hard. I get it wrong a lot too. So I believe you. Natsuki exhales in relief. She then sits down next to Yuri and takes the drink. Knowing Yuri, she was probably overthinking it so much that Natsuki's tepid response filled her with self-doubt. I'll do something nice for you next time. Oh, please, don't feel obligated. I want to. I want to do nice things too. You can't just have all the fun, Yuri. Thank you. You can thank me after I figure out how to do something nice. I'll do that then, too. Natsuki sighs. Nothing. Just reminds me of how I haven't been able to get along with my friends lately. Your toxic friends? Is that why you've been coming here? Well, no, not exactly. I haven't been avoiding them on purpose or anything. They're just other things I'd rather be doing during lunch lately. I like being around them when they're all just having fun, but I also just can't take anything seriously. So when I'm, I don't know, feeling serious, then their attitudes just get on my nerves. It's only gotten worse ever since I joined the literature club. How come? I don't know. I feel like I used to be really good with just putting up with it. Because it would be so stupid to cause drama over a joke I didn't like or something. I just have a hard time doing that lately. It's my fault for being overly sensitive. If I had a problem, I'm not gonna demand for everyone around me to change. Are you being sensitive because you like the literature club a lot? I get you, Natsuki. I'd feel pretty defensive about the literature club as well. Not because of the girls, okay? I actually kind of like literature. Depends on what you're talking about, though. Monica and Sayuri don't really agree with that kind of thing. But they're not in my position, so it's easy for them to say that you should just communicate your feelings or whatever. It's not like my friend group does that kind of thing. I just be making an embarrassment of myself. Sorry, none of this has anything to do with you. I don't know why I'm talking to you about it. Hey, it's okay. I like listening. What, listening to other people's problems? Yeah. That's weird. Sorry. I just like learning about people. Do you think it's weird? No, it's not weird. I just probably misunderstood, so... I don't know. Does that mean I should just keep going? If you like. Okay. Well, I don't know what to talk about now. What are some things that you like about your friends? A lot of things. I mean, they're really fun to hang out with, like after school and on the weekends. And they really like my baking. And it's fun to complain about school together. They make me laugh a lot, and we have a lot of good memories and inside jokes. Huh. I'm bad at a lot of those things. So? Are those all things that are important to you? Well, kinda, but they're not things I need to get out of everybody. Everyone in the club is really different from that. But I still have friends with them. I'm still friends with them too. Well, Sayuri likes your baking. And she makes you laugh. And she complains a lot. That doesn't mean she's anything like my other friends. Well, unlike them, she's a nice person who cares about your feelings. Excuse me? Hey. How about you don't talk that way about my friends that you don't know anything about? Natsuki stands up. No way. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I just didn't want to say anything bad. Please don't leave. Whew. Natsuki sighs and shakes her head. It's fine. As long as you understand that you can't just judge people like that. I'm sorry. Natsuki sits back down. You can't just compare friends like that and like measure who's better than who. Everyone's different. I'm sorry. Okay, you know what? I'll apologize as well, Natsuki, okay? I just sort of got a bad impression of your friends earlier because they were just putting you down. But if you really think highly of them, then okay. Actually, you know what? They kind of remind me of my own high school friends. We'd banter a lot. They wouldn't take me seriously. But in the end, they were still good friends. Okay, so maybe your friends aren't toxic, Natsuki, but still, you gotta watch out for them snakes. They could be hiding within your good friends, you know? I just don't like people who want to hurt you. A moment of silence stretches between them. Yeah, Yuri's just trying to be protective, Natsuki. You don't want to hurt me. We just like to tease each other about stupid things. It's fun. I don't like that. Well, that's why I'm friends with him and you're not. You like it? Just don't worry so much about me. It's not worth it. Actually, I don't know anymore. Is Natsuki just trying to hide all of this? What if her friends really are toxic? I don't know. I need to meet these friends of hers. I'm sorry. I wish I knew how to help with social conflicts. Like how Monica can. She's good at these things. Not really. Also, I don't always want help. Sometimes it's just stuff that I have to deal with myself. That's what Monica and Sayuri never seem to understand. Sometimes all you can do is just look at them wrong and they'll be like, "Oh, what's wrong? Is everything okay?" I just want to mind my own business sometimes and decide myself if I want to talk about things. The only one who understands that is you. So you really shouldn't be hard on yourself. You're not as bad as you think you are. Oh, you don't need to reassure me or anything. I mean that. Plus, it makes sense that someone who doesn't talk a lot would make a good listener. Yeah, okay. It's all you introverts out there, me included. Thank you. You're also nice. Take the compliment, Natsuki. It's really hard for me. It doesn't come naturally at all. It's so weird because I always thought of myself as someone who can just say whatever's on my mind. But I feel like that only works when I'm annoyed or upset or I just want to say something mean. Why am I like that? You don't have to answer that, I'm just talking to myself. Yuri nods and remains silent. Natsuki notices her fidgeting with the pages of her books. How come you like reading so much? Oh, well, a lot of reasons. But I guess I just get sucked into it so easily. It's so immersive, like I just want to be a part of it. I think there are a lot of things about people in real life that make me feel uncomfortable and frustrated. Especially when it comes to following social conventions and group interactions. I don't really understand it, and I have no real desire to participate. But it's different with books. It feels like I always want to be around the characters. I feel such a strong emotional connection with them in ways that I never felt with real people. So in a way, it can sometimes feel more real than real life. Really? Is that hard for you to be around people, like, all the time? Fairly often. Especially in group settings. When people are making all kinds of conversation and saying jokes and all that, I don't know what to do, and I just disengage. Oh. Doesn't that get lonely? I don't think so. I can still enjoy spending time with people one-on-one, and I have online friends too, of course. Do you ever wish that you could be friends with the characters in your books? All the time. Sometimes so badly that it just makes my heart ache. Yeah, me too. Really? A lot. Like, more than anything. After Natsuki mutters that, silence fills the stairway once more. But it's a mutual silence. One full of understanding. Aww. Wow, they're finding common grounds. This is great. Man, you'd think they would be on heaps better terms in the original DDLC story, but you know, MC protagonist had to come in and disrupt the peace and make everyone all angsty and stuff. Man, imagine if the MC just never joined the literature club. Everyone would be so happy! I don't know about Monica though. I think she'd be depressed over her own reality. In a way, the MC characters are linchpin to keep going. Hey. No, hello. I almost thought you weren't coming today. Yeah, well, lunch is already more than halfway over. Natsuki has typically been meeting Yuri in the stairway much earlier, since it has been a good way of dodging her friends when she didn't feel like seeing them. Today, she's holding a large plastic container in both her hands. Is it cupcakes? I ran into my friends, so I hung out with them for a while. Is that so? Yeah. I was in a good mood today, so I figured I should. I haven't seen them in a while, which I had to come up with an excuse for, but I expected that. Plus, I have way more of these than I know what to do with, so I figured I would share them with you. As she sits down, Natsuki opens the lid of her container. You made cupcakes. You know it. It's been a while since at this point, so I just figured it was about time again. You can take one if you want. Natsuki takes a cupcake and carefully twirls it within her fingers. It's brown with dark green frosting, immaculately shaped into a floral pattern and topped with some kind of glittery powder. Is it matcha? How pretty! Or is it choc mint? Yeah, I'm not judging people who like choc mint, by the way. It's somewhat of a guilty pleasure of mine. I could eat chocolate and brush my teeth at the same time! Are they for the club? Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really think about it, so I just made them. Ah, I just thought that because green is Monica's favorite color, right? Oh, well, yeah, but that's not really. Yuri takes a small bite. This is green tea flavored. Aw, it was for Yuri. I love green tea. Oh, do you? It was just a random idea I wanted to try, so... Don't laugh at me. I'm not. I just felt happy. Oh, sorry. Usually when... Never mind. What I mean is that I'm glad. Oh, so every time someone laughs, you automatically think, oh, they're making fun of me. Man, I don't know if your friends are good company or not, Natsuki. I mean, you say that we shouldn't, like, say bad things about them, but I don't know. Sorry for saying dumb things again. I just wanted to do something nice. And this is something I happen to be good at. And I know that you like them from past experience. Yuri turns red, recalling the time she treated herself rather generously to Natsuki's cupcakes. Ironically, her mouth is too full of cupcake for her to stammer an excuse, so she just settles for a disapproving look. How did you get into baking? Well, I don't know. It just always appealed to me. Well, a few years ago I read this one manga with a lot of baking, so I got like super into it for a while. I was probably making stuff almost every day. But it's something that I always knew I liked anyway. It's like, baking is like art. But when you get good at it, it gets more delicious too. A win-win. I'm struggling to imagine myself putting my heart into something so artistic, knowing that it would just be eaten afterwards. Yeah, maybe you're too practical for it. I think I'd prefer to be on the receiving end. You're gonna be the cupcake appreciator, Yuri? That's not bad. That's my other favorite part about it. It's something I can do that makes a lot of people happy, like kinda. Everyone is always so thankful. In that moment, you get to be like the bringer of joy. I don't know, it kinda makes me feel valued? Yeah, I guess that. So, you were able to make up with your friends today? Huh? There wasn't anything really to make up with them about. We weren't fighting or anything. You weren't? Maybe I misunderstood. It only turns into a fight if I lose my cool, and that's just unnecessary drama. It only makes things worse. So, they're not gonna stop? I mean, it only happens sometimes anyways. It's just the way they are. I'm not the only one who has a problem with it. It's not worth it. Especially since I have somewhere to go now, when I don't feel like hanging out with them. Oh, well, it seems like you're hanging out with Yuri a lot more often. Maybe you really don't like being with your friends. I see. The cupcake's empty foil wrapper audibly crinkles as Yuri clenches a fist. I'm glad that the situation is resolved. And that you don't have to avoid them any longer. Yeah. Me too. I don't have to bother you during your alone time anymore. I'm sure you have a lot of reading to catch up on. Yeah. I know that cupcakes are basically nothing compared to all the other stuff you've been done for me. But it's the best I can do. So you can have the rest of them. Natsu grabs the box and slides it to Yuri's feet. Yuri stares at the gargantuan box. Then she shakes her head and slides it back. You should save them for your other friends. But I made them for you. Natsuki's voice whines as she protests. I know, and I like them very much, exactly as you thought. You succeeded. But I know you care about making your other friends happy too. And this is the way you know how to make that happen, and I'm not going to take that away from you. No, they were for making you happy. You made me happy. You're worth more than cupcakes to some people. That's why they want to spend time with you. And be your friend. Without warning, tears pour from Natsuki's eyes. She pulls her knees to her chest and starts sobbing into her arms. Natsuki? I'm such a bad person. Um, Yuri stammers, feeling panicked. I didn't mean to say something bad. Natsuki shakes her head and wipes her eyes. You didn't. I just... Natsuki tries to choke back her sobs, but struggles to speak through them. I just really hate myself sometimes. And it feels so wrong when you say those nice things to me. Like I don't deserve it. Hey, I'm sorry. No, I am. I'm so difficult. I can't think of a single thing about myself that somebody would like. And I hated myself for bothering you during lunch. I just thought that it was my chance to be a good person. Like to be nice and do the things you wrote about in the letter. I knew if I tried in the club, Sayuri and Monak would be super annoying and make a huge deal out of it. You know, I think a lot of these negative things too, you know, about myself. I never felt like a good person. I always scrutinize everything I say, and later I feel like I said all the wrong things. I spent so much time thinking about myself, hating myself, and feeling like everyone else must hate me too. So I understand some of that through my own experience. And that's why I wanted to write the letter and express my feelings. It pained me to see those things in someone else that I saw in myself. Natsuki sniffles. Yuri rustles through her bag and pulls out some tissues, then hands them to Natsuki. Monica told me it takes a good person to reflect on these things. The desire to improve yourself, that makes you a good person. So don't worry so much. Also, there are things about you that people would like, so... Like what? Like how you're fun for people to be around. And how you're not shy, and how you know how to make people laugh. And how you're very passionate about things, and you know how to take the lead. And how you care about other people. And just a lot of things. Oh. Now you're making me feel real embarrassed. Well, you're the one who asked. Don't you think I feel embarrassed? Natsuki tries to hide a smile, but then she sighs as it fades again. Every time I come here, I always think it's the last time, but then I keep coming back for some reason. Is that bad? Just really confusing. I mean, my friends and I go way back, so ditching them all the time feels like I don't know. Feels like what? Natsuki's voice gets quiet. Maybe I'm just scared that they'll get mad at me. I really don't know what to do. She pauses. Yuri stares into the distance, tracing her eyes along the patterns of the floor tiles while she thinks to herself. What would you do, hypothetically, if your friends were happy for you instead of mad at you? Happy for what? Happy that your new club is making you happy. Well, that's just not a fair hypothetical. Natsuki says that, but with low confidence in her voice. I always told myself that I don't rely on the approval of others to be happy. And I still feel that way, but I'm spending time with people who put me down whenever I don't have their approval. It's probably just what's making me feel so confused. Because I feel threatened out of the things that should make me happy. So no matter what, I feel like I have to be unhappy to be happy. It's making my head hurt. That must make it really difficult to get comfortable with yourself. Being made to feel like you're wrong just for being the person you are. It really goes against everything I believe in, doesn't it? It goes against the kind of person I want to be. I'm fed up with it. I'm fed up with a lot of things. Natsuki presses her palms into her forehead and shakes her head. I know what's best for me, but I can keep convincing myself out of it. And it's so much easier to be comfortably unhappy than it is to do something scary. To do what? You know, to end it. With them? Natsuki nods. I didn't think you were actively considering that as an option. I wasn't until recently. It's just one of those things where, like, it's just been a certain way for so long that you just get used to it. Like, so much of you has gone into it. So much that it feels like now it's just how your life is. And throwing it away is like throwing away such a big part of your life. It makes me feel sick to think about. Yes, the dilemma of change. But sometimes it can be for the better. I don't know if these friends are kind of the good type of company you want to keep around yourself, Natsuki. I don't know what they're like through and through, but you've got better people out there, like Yuri. What are you afraid of? Them bullying you? Hey, don't worry. I don't know, a lot of things. Like being alone. Not having anyone to talk to or hang out with. Not being able to replace what I have with them. And I don't want them to hate me. I'm scared they'll hurt me for going against them. Physically? Not physically, but... Yuri clenches her fist. Natsuki. What? If anyone even thinks to cause you harm, I will unleash hell upon them. You better believe it. Yuri can turn into Demon Yuri. She can. Natsuki snorts in laughter. Hey, don't laugh at me. Nah, sorry. I like that. That's all. Oh. Well, I meant it. I know you did. Yeah, you know, Yuri can be surprisingly scary and confronting, you know? If she was really determined, ooh, she'd probably kill those people. I needed it. As the conversation lapses, Natsuki again slides her box of cupcakes over to Yuri. Just take them, okay? I don't want other people to have them anymore. Are you sure? Natsuki nods. I'm sure. I will then. I'll enjoy them. Natsuki looks away, but a feeling of warmth spreads through her. She holds on to that feeling, knowing it'll give her courage. Ah, you're here first today. And you brought reading material. Natsuki's sitting in her usual spot, this time holding a volume of manga while her lunch sits beside her. Yuri sits down as well and opens her book. It sucks when a good series has to come to an end. Like it's such a big part of your life and then one day there's just nothing left. It makes you feel so empty. Ain't that the truth when completing an anime or a manga series? I'm just like, oh, it's over? Dang. Unfortunately, I'm about to experience that myself. I'm on the last book of this series. That sucks. But there's also something satisfying about letting a story conclude. I don't know if I want it to go on forever. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I guess I just don't like endings. I think endings are very sad. Unless they're very happy and good endings. Which DDLC does not have. Well, it depends on what ending you get. But there are some things that I wish I could. On the other hand, have you ever tried reading something that overstayed its welcome? Yeah, definitely. I can think of at least one thing I've read that got pretty unbearable like halfway through and the ending really sucked. So, it sucks when something good has to end, but it also sucks when they just keep inventing more plot until you don't like it anymore. I guess it sucks either way. Well, that's the nature of all things. They have to come to an end. The two fall silent. They slowly eat while making their way through their respective reading material. Except Natsuki doesn't seem to be touching her food at all. Did you happen to talk to your friends? You don't go out during the weekends, right? Excuse me? Like with friends at the mall or downtown or whatever? I'm not a total shut-in, you know? Oh, my bad for making assumptions. Well, I'm sure I go out less often than other people, like you and the others in the club. I don't really meet with friends and arbitrarily spend time like that. I usually meet with my board game group. Board game group? I know, right? You play board games? Wow, okay. Let's play some D&D. It doesn't matter, it's just more nerdy stuff. Hey, no, it's some good nerdy stuff, alright? I like board games too. In fact, I ran a board game session. Most hectic 30 minutes of my life. Why do you ask anyways? I was just curious. I didn't realize I just realized I couldn't picture it, so I was just curious. Yuri looks at Natsuki and realizes that she's shaking. Don't look at me like that. Sorry. Natsuki pulls her knees into her chest and puts her head down. I can't take this. Did I do something? Yuri gets flustered, her mind racing over what she might have said or done. I ended it. I texted them earlier, telling them, and I just blocked them because I'm so afraid of their responses. And now it feels like I'm dying inside. Oh, that's... I'm sorry. Totally unsure of what to do, Yuri can barely find any words of support to offer. Meanwhile, the sound of Natsuki's unusually hard breathing fills the air. Then she speaks again, barely above a whisper. Help me. I feel sick, and I want to hit my head against things. Please help. I can't take this. You may be having a panic attack. With that realization, Yuri's demeanor suddenly changes. I have an experience with this, so I'll help you through it, okay? Natsuki meekly nods through a rapid breath, head still buried in her knees. Yuri slides herself over to Natsuki and sits on the step behind her. And she puts her hands on Natsuki's shoulders. Can you feel my hands? Natsuki nods. Her shaking becomes much more apparent to Yuri's sense of touch. Yuri keeps her voice low and gentle. You're safe now. You're in a good and safe space, where nothing can hurt you. Natsuki nods once more. Although Yuri is only touching Natsuki's shoulders, she can practically feel her racing pulse through the base of her neck. We'll do a breathing exercise together. All you have to do is listen to my breaths and breathe along with me. Let's breathe in now. Yuri takes a deep, slow breath. Beneath her hands, she feels Natsuki's shoulders rise and Natsuki takes a breath of her own, trying to mimic Yuri. They exhale together, although Natsuki's breath shakes on the way out. That's good. Keep it going. Yuri breathes in once more, and Natsuki joins her. They continue like that for a few more cycles, while Yuri closely monitors. Eventually, Yuri feels Natsuki rest more of her weight into Yuri's palms. Let's focus on the physical world. All you have to do is focus on the feeling of your breaths going in and out, and the weight of my palms on your shoulders. You're in a safe and comfortable physical space. Minutes pass in silence. By now the worst of it has passed, but Yuri is determined not to move away until Natsuki prompts her to. Meanwhile, Natsuki has lifted her head off of her knees and her breathing has momentarily steadied. Then she takes a final deep breath and slowly pulls herself to her feet, causing Yuri to let go. She stretches her arms. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to freak you out. Happens to the best of us, Natsuki. I don't know what my deal is. You don't have to apologize. This must be enormously stressful for you. And completely alien as well. Is that gonna keep happening? It may, or it may not. We can take measures to help prevent it in the future, but I think it will naturally get better over time. Natsuki motions to sit back down again, so Yuri moves over. Yuri turns away to pick up her open book from the dusty floor she had hastily set down earlier. She brushes the dust off the cover. I don't think I could have gotten through that alone. Hey, you're not alone. Feeling shy again, Yuri speaks into her own lap. From now on, you don't have to do anything alone. As she says that, Yuri tenses up. It's rare for her to so openly share her own thoughts. But something about Natsuki, of all people, makes it feel so much more natural to do so. Perhaps because, like Yuri, Natsuki is so timid and uncertain of herself. Natsuki does such a good job at hiding it that it's taken a long time for Yuri to finally realize it. And because of that, Yuri is able to deliver the reassurance that she herself would have wanted, demonstrating that you deserve the love of others. If you can accept that for the first time, then perhaps you can begin the tumultuous journey of learning to love yourself. Do you really mean that? You're probably gonna regret saying that if you do. How so? Because I'm probably gonna have a lot of free time during the weekends from now on. So you're giving me permission to be as annoying as I want and drag you around to a lot of places. I see. But you already said it, so you can't take it back now. Ah. Well, I suppose I have no choice but to accept that responsibility then. I know a good ice cream place. Oh. That means you'll finally figure out my favorite ice cream flavor. Huh? What are you talking about? Oh, you don't remember? The first day you came to the club, you guessed everyone's favorite ice cream flavor but for me, you said you had no idea. Seriously? Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember that at all. Oh wait, yes I do. I said it was probably green tea. Yuri shakes her head. It's a good guess, but my favorite is usually to get chocolate and raspberry together. Quite a romantic flavor. Chocolate and raspberry. How fancy. How is that fancy? Oh, I don't know. I feel like I should have guessed something like that. Well, maybe next time I'll try chocolate and strawberry. Hey, strawberry's my favorite. What a coincidence. I think it helps to have something to look forward to. I still have this sick feeling in my stomach, but it's easy to convince myself that I did the right thing. Is there anything better I could be doing? Not that I know of. There is nothing that can make this easy for me. And you already did more than I thought anyone could. Come to think of it, we never talked about the letter you wrote. But I feel like we're way past that at this point. I don't even know what to talk about. Except that I think it helped me understand my needs a little bit better. The way I like to be treated. And the kinds of friends that I want to have. That's why I wanted to start coming here in the first place, even though I was so scared of causing more problems. I thought it was a coincidence that you ran into me initially. Oh, well, not exactly. What do you mean? Nothing. She was pursuing you. I may have tracked you down first. With the help of Sayori. But you said I was shy, okay? I wasn't ready to whatever, you know what I'm saying. Well, I guess I'm glad that you worked up the courage. Even if it was in your own way. I can tell that you've been making a lot of difficult decisions. It's brave, and if it'll make things better in the long run, I think everyone would be proud of you for it. Anyone? You mean, like you? Yeah. Like me. You know, I could get used to this. As long as you don't tease me too much. Fine. Just a little then. That's fine. I know how uncertain everything feels to you right now. But I really do think that good things are in store. Those are my honest feelings. Thanks. It feels nice to be reassured. The two girls continue their conversation to the remainder of lunch. But a new feeling hangs in the air. A feeling of greater certainty in their path forward. In just a few hours, there will be another literature club meeting where the 4 club members will happily spend time together. Yeah, those are your new friends, your real friends. Each of them, all with their own special qualities, have something unique that they can deliver to one another. Through friendship and literature, the club members will continue to grow and find new happiness together. The end of each chapter is the start of the next. Yuri thinks to herself, since she's about to finish her long-running series, it would be best to have a new book lined up. Perhaps this weekend would be a good time to visit a bookstore. Together. Wow. I like that. Man, Natsuki and Yuri had such a good standing in the side stories, you know? They got to understand each other better, reflect on things together, you know, learn about, you know, being in better touch with themselves, working together to, like, move forward to a brighter future, to new chapters. And then DDLC hits, and then there's this new guy named Ionaro, and then they're just at each other's throat. Well, I say each other's throats. I don't know, it could just be usual club banter. But like I said, I think we're the true villain here, guys. Honestly, we're disrupting things. It's just sad to see how that's all the side stories, right? Equals? Ooh, there's a new one. Well, I'll leave that for later then. I was about to say, like, that's all the side stories, and then everything is just gonna end all sad with the DDLC stories? Well then, I guess with the 7th side story, I'll leave that... Actually, I think I got enough time to cover that now. I'm on a roll, guys. I ain't stopping. As for my reflection, well, I got 2 points out of it. One, it's okay to have friends that, you know, banter with you and joke with you, you know. But if all they do is just put you down, especially when you're in need of, like, encouragement in dark times, you gotta really assess if these are the kind of people that you want to hang out with. Because the wrong words at the wrong time can really harm a person. And you shouldn't have to diminish yourself for the sake of your friends or to appease a situation. No. Everyone deserves love and respect for their qualities as a person. They're not fatal flaws that you should throw away in a pit of fire and condemn. They're qualities that make a person likable and admirable. And if your friends can't respect that when it comes down to it, then I reckon you ought to find new friends. Now, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean that you deserve more. You deserve people that'll have your back, especially in times where you doubt even yourself, and you feel like you've got the whole world on your shoulders and you're facing everything alone. You should have some people that can share the load, as it were. Don't feel afraid to reach out to somebody like that. Well, somebody that you can depend. Not the, toxic friends, if you know what I mean. Sorry, I might just be aimlessly rambling. I don't know why I turned into a guru after these side stories. I usually don't reflect on things like this, but, you know, I might as well, since barely anyone's gonna listen to this. Alright, guys, this is the final stretch before I jump into the pit of misery that is DDLC. Actually, after this side story, I'm gonna put DDLC on hold to work on an Undertale project that I've been hammering away at. Yeah, so look forward to that. But until then, here we go. Ooh, this is gonna be big, I think. Equals. Begin the side story? Yeah, sure. Okay, everyone. We're gonna be taking a break from the usual activities today. I was thinking since people are starting to talk about the festival, it's a good time for us to go over the general direction of the club and all that. Oh, festival, huh? Ooh, are we gonna see a glimpse of what Monica, like, had to go through? when she finally discovered her epiphany of like reality being fake. That'll be depressing. I think it'll help us figure out what to do for the festival, you know? Oh, Sayori and I already came up with a good plan. Really? For the festival? Yeah, so the plan is this, okay? You and Yuri collect information ahead of time on which clubs and classes are doing food booths. Then we take a map and plan the most efficient route so we can get to most of them before the line gets too long. Hey! That has nothing to do with this club. Hey, wait, you have to let me finish. Alright, fine, go ahead. Right, so basically, we get all the food we can, and then we come back here and we eat it together. That's all. Wow, I think I got tricked by the same joke twice. Boo! Don't be a hater. It's not like you can come up with anything better. Look, even Yuri was thinking about it. Food. Hey, no I wasn't. I would really prefer to do something literature related. We can eat together anytime. The festival is a unique opportunity. Besides, it's been quite a while since we've seen any new interest in the club. Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing. We really get a shot at showing people what the literature club is all about. I'll tell you what, we can do both, right? We'll make time for your food mission and still put together a public event. Oh my gosh, yes! I was just joking, but that's a really good idea. Well, I'm glad this is settled then. I think the question is how to come up with an event that demonstrates everything you can get out of the literature club. Well, that's kind of tough because everyone gets something different out of the club. Okay, well, how about this? Let's go around and have each of us talk about what we've gotten out of the club so far. That could really help us figure out what kind of reputation we want to build. Yeah! That's too embarrassing. Oh, but you have so much to talk about. That's exactly why. It'll be a torrent of words. And I'm sure Natsuki feels the same way. Well, maybe, but I didn't plan on arguing against it or anything. I mean, it's the literature club. We talk about that stuff together, right? And the only way to get more comfortable with it is to suck it up and do it. Oh, you're not wrong. I'm sorry for being resistant. It's not good it's not to say suck it up, because it sounds like their feelings don't matter. Right, my bad. It's just a habit I need to break. Well, anyway, who's gonna start? I'll start. I was the first to join, after all. Wouldn't that be me? You formed the club. You didn't join it. No, I want to go first. Fine. You can start. I don't mind. Yay! So, gosh, it feels like so long ago. I think I joined because I wanted to have fun sharing poems with people. It seemed like it would be a safe way to express myself, you know? Like it's just a poem that I can share without feeling like I'm burdening anyone with my problems. And I thought it would be a really good way to get to know other people too. So yeah, I was really surprised when I walked in and it was just Monica. And she was sleeping! Hey, don't remind me of that, oh gosh. Yeah, but it seemed like so much fun to start a new club. Especially since writing helped me so much. I want to see it help other people too. But it just ended up being me who was inspired. Because I remember feeling like Monica was just so sweet and mature and that I could trust her with anything. It made me feel a whole lot less alone, having someone who even knew the bad things about me. And at that point I knew the literature club was going to be special for a whole lot of people. Yeah, I felt the same way. It helped really give the club a new cohesive vision. Yeah, and then Yuri joined, but she was so different from us. And Natsuki too. I think for Yuri, it really helped for me to take the lead before she was able to open up a little. But Natsuki was kind of the opposite, where she said she wasn't ready to get close to someone really quickly. I never really thought about that sort of thing. I really feel like I've gotten better at understanding people's different needs. And that makes me really happy, because my friends are just the most important thing to me. And whatever new members we get, I want to help them in those ways too. gosh. I can't even imagine the literature club having like 6 or 8 people. It'll be bustling, that's for sure. I don't know if I would have continued coming to the club if it weren't for you. Really? I know it wasn't too long ago, but it hurts to still think about my behavior back then. I was really short-sighted. The only reason why I came was to find people who were into fantasy. I suppose it was my idea of making friends with people. And I remember feeling uncomfortable because you and I have such different energy. I had such a specific idea of the kind of person I could be friends with. So when Sayori tried so hard to get to know me, I felt like I was just wasting her time. I think I was naive to assume that similar interests were the key component of friendship. It's like a starting foundation, but as they say, polar opposites attract. Sayori and I were able to be friends because she always thinks about the needs of other people. That's something I never knew how to do or even thought to do. But I stayed in the club thanks to that, and I started trying as hard as I could to understand people better. You really went above and beyond when it came to that. I was super impressed. Well, I always hated that I didn't know how to behave like a person who's easily liked by others, like the two of you can. And because of that, I spent so much time thinking about my own behavior and all the wrong things I said. But the whole time, I should have been thinking about other people instead, not just myself. Once I started doing that, I was able to make friends with everyone else, while still keeping your own qualities, Yuri. You know, self-love. Oh, also, I discovered that sometimes I'm a better communicator when I take the time to write rather than speak. It's so strange the way things turned out. It's so far different from anything I've ever would have expected. But I'm happy. I suppose we don't know what we really need. Oh my gosh! You're so cute that I'm gonna throw up! Okay, please don't do that, Sayori. Besides, I'm not cute. It's Natsuki who's the cute one. Hey, isn't that my line? Oh. Well, for me, it's actually true, so... Oh, what are you saying? Oh, nothing. I finished my part, so someone else take their turn. My heart! Sayori, take some deep breaths. Okay, fine, I'll go. Yuri, I can't believe you were complaining about doing this and still went before me. What a show-off. I was just following up on Sayori. It was the easiest way to get it over with. Besides, you left out the most important thing that you can get out of this club. I did? Yeah, a regular supply of your favorite cupcakes. Oh no! I completely forgot about that too! I'm a traitor to the Cupcake Queen! Hey, neither of you are forgiven. Now bow down to me, you plebeians. Looks like only Monica will be getting cupcakes this time. No! Hey, I can't eat that many cupcakes. Yeah, true. Only Yuri can. Hey! Well, anyway, I'm just putting off talking. It's kind of hard to talk about this sort of stuff, but I guess when it comes down to it, that I'm just in a much better place mentally than I was when I first joined. And that's because everyone helped me realize that I had some really toxic friendships going on outside the club. Okay, so it is true. You had some toxic friends, Natsuki. You don't have to try and defend them. Though I think it was just, out of defending yourself, because you're afraid of what they would do. It was honestly a really painful thing to go through, having to cut them out. It still hurts to think about it. I'm sorry, Natsuki. It's fine. I knew what it was for the best, and I was right. I guess for me it was all about feelings. I was only ever ridiculed for having feelings, so I thought the right thing to do was just to ignore them. It took me a really long time to realize that it's not really how things are supposed to work. And I guess that's thanks to everyone who took the time to respect my feelings, even though I was being like the biggest jerk. Jerk face. I'm really sorry for being such a jerk to everyone. I really was the worst. Natsuki's voice chokes a little. Hey, we all love you, Natsuki. I hate that I was like that. Everyone did so much for me and I could never do anything in return. Hey, that's not true. Natsuki, you've done a lot more than you think. This club really wouldn't have been the same without you. I mean it. Remember how judgmental I was when you first showed up? It was like I couldn't accept anything other than my own idea on what a literature club was supposed to be. Apparently, that was more important to me than the opportunity to bring you some happiness. You really taught me that anything that makes someone happy is worthy of respect. You even inspired me to start playing piano. That's something that means a whole lot to me. So there's no need to put yourself down. Yeah, give yourself some credit, Natsuki. Some of that self-love. Natsuki wipes her eyes. You helped me a lot too. It's so much fun to have you around. And yeah, you've helped me become a better person. Having a problem doesn't make you needy or inconvenient. It just means that there's something that needs to be better for you, and you always deserve that. I agree. Seeing us have some of the same struggles made me a better person as well. I wouldn't want to change anything about our time here. I don't think any of us would. I'm sorry. I just got all dramatic again. That's all I wanted to say, so, Monica, you can go now. There's no need to apologize. It was something I wanted to talk about anyway, because it made a huge difference for me. I was always such a strict perfectionist who never took enough time to believe in the best of other people. But everyone kept proving me wrong. I made the same mistake multiple times, thinking that my way was just the best for everyone. Or thinking that I was needed to solve other people's problems. But I think being a leader means that you have to acknowledge that you're not perfect. And that the best thing you can do is to help guide people, rather than just do everything for them. We're all good people. We're all equals. I think that's the most important thing that I've gotten out of this club, realizing what that really means. So Yuri, what are you doing? I just thought that we should be writing some of these things down. Things about the club that are valuable to us. With a piece of chalk in her hand, Sayuri writes the word trust on the chalkboard. This is because she showed me that I could trust you with everything about me, not just my good side. Suddenly, Yuri takes up a piece of chalk as well. She writes understanding. I owe a lot of gratitude to people who took the time to understand me, even though it was so difficult for me to express myself. In that case... Monica takes a piece of chalk as well, and writes the word respect. I always thought I was a respectful person, but it took the club for me to realize that there was so much more to it than I thought, and now I'm a better person because of it. Hey, I have another one! Sayuri writes balance. Sometimes people want different things out of a friendship, or they need time before they're ready to become close. So it's really important to keep things balanced between you and the other person. That reminds me. So Yuri writes reflection. I've always been a reflective person, but most of it has been nothing more than just hating myself for all the things I've thought I did wrong. Once I started reflecting on other people, and not just myself, a whole lot of other things changed for me. So I think that's the most important one for me. That's great! We have a whole list of things now. Suddenly, everyone turns to look at Natsuki. Hey, you gonna write something, Natsuki? Hey, well, everyone took all the chalk, okay? Don't look at me like that. Jeez. You could have just asked. Monica hands her piece of chalk to Natsuki. The Natsuki sighs and writes self-love. I don't know how far I would have gotten with it yet, but it feels like things are at least on the right track. So there, that's my contribution. Together, everyone stares at the words on the board. Wasn't this club supposed to be about literature? It is! We can still do a lot of literature. Friendship and literature. Yeah, you're right. Friendship and literature. Natsuki and Yuri gently nod as well. Hey, let's all take a picture together. We don't have one yet, right? Hey, you're right. Make sure you send it to me after. Wait, can I brush my hair first or something? No, you're fine. You already have the best hair out of all of us. Everyone get together. I can't fit you all in. Okay. Okay, everyone ready? And click. Aww. I'm really glad we talked about this stuff. It's easy to forget how far we've come with only 4 members. And only 4. Imagine 8. You know, actually, I like the literature club when it's more compact, when it's more focused on just 4 people, plus the dense protagonist that is Ionaro. Yeah, you brickface. I have so much happy thoughts right now. I'm getting really good inspiration for a poem. You know, I feel the same way. I kind of want to get some writing done. Me too. I think I would like that as well. And Natsuki? Everyone's looking at me again. I'll do it too, but I might not feel like sharing it. That's okay. The 4 members of the literature club disperse and return to their desks, each equipping themselves with a pen. Natsuki and Yuri give each other a quick glance, then start writing immediately. Sayuri stretches, then does the same, but Monika is left tapping her pen against the paper, unsure on where to start. Just move your hand. Monika mouths to herself. You can do it, Monika. Write the way into your heart. Her mind full of thoughts, memories, and inspiration, Monika navigates past her mental barriers and begins to write. It doesn't matter what, just that it's something new. Wow. Friendship and literature. Oh, that was good. I like that. Everyone got to reflect on their journeys, the previous side stories. Everyone got to reflect. I mean, they did that with respect as well, but here it all comes full circle. And then, just like that, all wrapped up in a nice bow. That was nice. That was so wholesome. Who's I got pictures? Oh, what? What's this? Okay, everyone, now make a funny face. Ah, nice one. Everyone say cheese. Got new CGs that I checked out before making this. And, ooh. Artwork drawn by Essentially to celebrate Monica's birthday in 2019. Well, that's, oh wait, what's this? There's another mystery thing here. Maybe once I've completed DDLC and the side stories, I'll unlock that. Speaking of DDLC, oh man, guys, it's gonna be so sad. These four, man, they are like the prime of their friendships and stuff, and then everything just goes downhill because something messed Monica up. Actually, I wonder if that fading to black was the exact moment Monica saw something she didn't mean to, or she wasn't supposed to, and opened her up to like a world of realization of her own reality. I wonder. Either way, yeah, so it's gonna be sad, man. I'm gonna go in, DDLC, Sayori's gonna become more depressed, and then the whole game will mess up. And Monica's also gonna become more messed up. Actually, come to think of it, Monica acts like she also doesn't realize what she says as well. So maybe there's another force behind Monica. I think I briefly mentioned upon this, like how Monica might be getting like a split personality thing going on, where there's another side of her, or maybe even just another force inside of her that's slowly growing, that's influencing her actions and slowly taking over. Because, I mean, even if these guys were like fake, you spent so much time with each other, you know? I'm referring back to my one-shot playthrough. This whole conversation about what's real, what's fake. I mean, they're still real to an extent, you know? You just have to look at it differently. They're not disposable, Monica. Although, I don't know what I'd be if I were in her shoes. If I realized the world was fake. Would I even want to do anything anymore? And then I finally met someone who is real. Would I also be as desperate? Oh, it's gonna be sad. But nice! No, nice side stories. As for the files, okay. I discovered some files. 3, 4, 4. Alright. MES. Nothing. Do I have to wait until I finish the entire game? Or wait for a certain section of the story to take place before I open that? How about 1, 2, 3? Nothing. Okay. Unknown error. Something is stopping me. Anyways, thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be taking a little, not a little, I'll be taking a major break from DDLC to work on some other projects. But rest assured, I'll come back to this Carnival of Carnage soon. And I'm gonna definitely be waiting for that. Yay. I just have to ready myself, you know, steel myself. Okay, I'm good.